Products, whose headquarters is here in Buffalo, created Bailey Green, and Urban Fruits and Veggies is one of the stakeholders, and that is the food desert area there is probably in a little worse shape than where we are on Glenwood and DuPont.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever you may be listening. This is Latitude, the 43 North podcast. What makes a great bank? The ability to bring a sharp local focus while being able to tap into a national network of deep experience and expertise. To learn more about how Key can help your business thrive and what they mean when they say use the red key, visit key.com. KeyBank is a member of FDIC. Hello again, I'm Nate Benson, Digital Media Manager at 43 North and the host of this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We are well past 20 episodes of the podcast, and it's been a great 20 weeks. Each week bringing you a new venture capitalist, new founder, new story. We love telling these startup stories, and we want to tell more of them. So if you have a guest in mind or if you yourself want to be on this show, email us at podcast@43north.org. But more importantly, this week on the show, we have Allison DeHonney, the founder of Urban Fruits and Veggies. There's quite a few communities across the country that have food deserts, and Buffalo is no exception. So what's Urban Fruits and Veggies doing? Well, they're trying to solve the food desert problem. But let's not waste another minute with me and get right to this week's episode. Allison, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Nate. How are you?
I am doing great. So we start these out each week. Give us the quick pitch of who you are and what your startup is.
My name's Allison DeHonney. My startup is Urban Fruits and Veggies. We are 4 years old, and we're an urban agriculture business located right in the heart of Buffalo, New York, on the east side.
What is an urban agriculture business?
Well, an urban agriculture business for Urban Fruits and Veggies is comprised of several different things. We have our urban farm, of course, and then everything is an offshoot of the farm. So we're growers, and we grow right in the city. We do not plant in the ground. We do everything in raised beds. Historically, we're an industrial city, and our soil has been affected, so we don't want to take any chances. And so we grow, and then we provide nutrition education. We have programming with young children at the Mad Urban Center, where I teach nutrition education and gardening. We also embed ourselves in a lot of our major corporations' corporate wellness programs, and we bring either an employee share to that organization or an on-site farmers market for their employees.
So backing up a little bit, there's, in my news days, I explored the city quite a bit. There's no 100-acre, 500-acre farmland areas in Buffalo. So when you say you're doing urban gardening, what does that entail?
Well, we have 3 vacant city lots where we have constructed our raised beds, and we plant inside of those raised beds.
Sadly, there's quite a few vacant lots in Buffalo. So I guess with every downside, there's an upside, and you're working on bringing up that upside, correct?
And the neighborhood has been so embracing. We have lots of beautiful flowers at the entrance to our farm. And again, we were a little late this year with getting our flowers in, and boy, did we hear it from the neighbors and the community. Where are the flowers?
So, all puns aside, where did the seed of this idea come from?
Well, actually, it was not my idea. I will never take credit for the idea, but when the idea was presented to me, took some time to do some research, and I thought that this could really be a viable, wonderful socioeconomic endeavor with a triple bottom line effect, good for the environment, good for the community, and revenue generating. And then I had a full-time job. I come from corporate America, and I was just going to do this on the side, but it completely took over my life. And so, here we are 4 years later.
So 4 years into this, what was it like getting started? Because I imagine it wasn't easy to convince folks that, hey, I want to take this vacant lot and make an urban garden.
No, that's not easy. And but the real challenge for me was more the technical aspect, because I am a business person. I have a business background. I have a master's in business administration, and I've always worked in corporate America for large corporations. So the marketing and the putting the business together, that was a piece of cake for me. The farming, Not so much. I was fortunate enough to have a wonderful gentleman who's a horticulturalist take me under his wing, and my farm manager who just is more, she calls herself a flower girl, but she is a wonderful farmer. And between the three of us, we made it work.
So so is it just a 3-person team
No,
that's doing this?
I actually, in the summertime, I have 3 other employees who work. We're all over the city, so we need lots of help in the summertime.
So walk us through that first year compared to now. Like, how successful was that first year, and how has it grown since then?
Well, the first year we just created the farm, and I gave away a lot of our crops because I wanted to get feedback from restaurants and community members on, what they liked, what they didn't like. We did very well with our feedback and understanding what the need was in the community. We have a large desire for leafy greens, and a lot of farmers locally around Western New York are apprehensive about planting leafy greens because of spoilage and distance. They require a lot of attention. But with our market being literally 5 to 7 minutes away from our farm, we don't have those issues. So we focused on leafy greens, and it's been very successful.
One of the things about where you guys are located, it's in a bit of a food desert. Correct,
it absolutely is.
Was that intentional on your end to place this kind of where fresh food, greens are not? It's not that they're not accessible; it's just that they're not easily accessible.
Absolutely, and that is one of the focuses of the business, is to bring access and education in food desert areas, and so that's part of what the attraction to me was for the Bailey Green project, which is a little ways across town. Harmac Medical Products, whose headquarters is here in Buffalo, created Bailey Green, and Urban Fruits and Veggies is one of the stakeholders, and that is probably the food desert area there is probably in a little worse shape than where we are on Glenwood and DuPont, and that area is the Bailey Green project encompasses 42 vacant lots for all the stakeholders. So we are going to build some greenhouses so that we can grow year-round, and those greenhouses will grow a variety of crops. We will also put in a community garden where the residents can adopt a raised bed and learn how to plant and maintain and harvest their own vegetables for their family.
When does the Bailey Green project expect to be finalized?
We've secured our first round of funding this year, so we're hoping to get our first greenhouse up before the end of 2017, and then continue to expand into 2018.
Fortunately, like you said, the 42 lots that you guys are building this project on, it's pretty expansive then, like in terms of the potential reach for this.
Yeah, and there's, in addition to myself, there's Habitat for Humanity, there's Albright Knox with Ascension House. So there are other stakeholders. So Urban Fruits and Veggies will take up 13 of those 42 lots.
And so in very typical Buffalo fashion, it's not just one person trying to do everything themselves. The community's kind of coming together, right?
Absolutely. And I give so much credit to John Summers, who's the president of Harmac Medical Products, because he's such a collaborative person. And they've done such a wonderful job of bringing in all these stakeholders and all these partners so that we can make this a viable endeavor for the community and for Buffalo at large, because this project can be replicated in other areas.
You mentioned it being viable. How much risk is there involved with trying to develop urban farming?
Well, there's always a risk in growing because of weather. For example, this year we had to scrap 2 crops because of the dampness. So that's always the inherent risk in farming. But as far as I haven't really run into too many other risks. We cannot meet the demand. There's the demand far outpaces the supply. Restaurants are just really clamoring for farm-to-table programs. And I am working with a few of those restaurants now, and they love the concept of farm-to-table. They love to be able to come and see where their produce is being grown, how it's being grown, having a relationship with the grower, and then being able to serve it to their patrons.
You know, you mentioned your background in corporate America, and in corporate America, partnerships are always key to success. So talk a little bit about, you know, how you've taken Urban Fruits and Veggies and been able to partner with other entities to expand.
Well, because I spent the majority of my career in insurance, I'm very comfortable with insurance companies. So working with Independent Health Foundation, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Univera Healthcare came naturally to me. And I understand that for insurance carriers, you know, the goal is to mitigate claims.
Mm-hmm.
And on the health side, what is the best way to mitigate claims? To have a healthy pool of insureds. And so the healthier we make our community is the less that has to be paid out in medical claims, which is a huge issue in our area. We are one of the sickest counties in New York State. And, you know, that was acknowledged by Governor Cuomo with the money that he directed towards Western New York to, you know, try to do something about our diabetes rate, our hypertension, our cardiovascular issues. And
it's a downside byproduct of having so much good food here.
Absolutely.
That's how I spin it. But.
Absolutely. We have great food in Buffalo. We just need to, you know, do things in moderation. Sure. and remember that we need to get our leafy greens in, you know, along with our chicken wings and pizza.
Side salads are always great.
Absolutely.
You know, so you mentioned the demand rather, you know, outpacing the supply. How much are you guys able to produce kind of currently right now in terms of, you know, is it tonnage of crops, or like what's the?
No, we're not at the tonnage state yet, and we would love to get there and to have 2 greenhouses, which are actually 3 individual greenhouses inside of one unit, so we would have 6. We could get to the numbers that I've worked up. We could get to about 200 tons of food in a year if we have successful growing. You know, everything runs on time, because you can get, as opposed to 4 harvests outside, you can double that.
Yeah,
so,
greenhouses.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of food.
That's a lot of food.
You know, what's the goal? What's the mission then of Urban Fruits and Veggies? You know, let's say in a perfect scenario, you're able to, you know, say this time next year, you're on pace to do, you know, 200 tons.
Well, the besides providing access, our main focus is education, because I've found in working with the community that most people, people want to be healthy. They want to do the right things for their bodies and their families. It's just sometimes we're not aware that, you know, the sugary drinks that we drink are not good for us, and all those things taste so good. Yeah. I'm never gonna tell people that it doesn't taste good. I mean, I myself have an issue with white refined sugar. Mm-hmm. I love cake, I love cookies, you know, that stuff it makes us all happy. So we just have to figure out a way to do it in moderation and make sure that we provide our bodies with the nutrients that we desperately need, because a lot of us are nutrient starved.
Mm-hmm. You know, especially there really is kind of a fine line in the city of Buffalo, you know, for many reasons, you know, where there is that access and then there's not that access. And that's what the void you guys are hopefully trying to fill, right?
Absolutely. And I think when I talk about being a triple bottom line company, providing to restaurants that, you know, have a nice, healthy revenue stream, allows us to provide, you know, at low prices to the folks in the food desert areas. And being part of the SNAP program and accepting farmers market checks and fresh connection checks, which are all things that seniors and women with infants and children are eligible for, being a part of that, as well as serving our higher end clients, makes for what I call like just a great well-rounded company, a great well-rounded way to do business. I get to touch so many different communities and cater to their needs and have them support the company as well.
Food waste is also a huge issue too, which is kind of the funny thing. Like, you've got a section of the town that doesn't have access to food, and then you've got another section of town, it's probably just willy-nilly throwing food away. As you look at your growth, as you look at expansion, how do you delicately balance, what you're producing versus the potential of a food waste problem?
Food waste is huge, and it's great that you mentioned that, because initially what I thought I would do is just get produce trucks and drive around neighborhoods and sell produce. That is not a winning model at all, particularly because of the waste. So a couple years ago, when we had leftovers, I was so upset about what I was going to do, and that's how I found the Matt Urban Center. And they're a homeless drop-in shelter. They do all kinds of programming for kids and families. And when I went there, I met this wonderful young girl who happened to be trying to teach kids how to eat healthy, just on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, can I bring my leftovers to you? And she said, oh my goodness, yes. So I started taking all my leftovers to Matt Urban. Fast forward 2 years, Blue Cross and Blue Shield funds one of my programs with the Matt Urban Center to teach kids the nutrition and gardening class.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, all back to partnerships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, 43 North is in the midst of accepting applications for the pitch, and you participated in the pitch last year. Tell us a little bit about what it was like, kind of pitching this idea of Urban Fruits and Veggies to potential funders in Buffalo.
Well, it was a great opportunity, and I really thought, no, 43 North, it's really very techy. I'm not, techie. I'm probably going to pass on that. And then I have so many wonderful people in this community who support my business and support me. And it was really Brenda McDuffie who said to me, Allison, you really should apply. I said, oh, I'm so busy. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So like I usually do when I'm trying to write grants, up until 2 and 3 in the morning. So I did. And, I submitted it. I forgot about it because I've always felt like 43 North was a real reach for me, because I'm not, I don't have this high-tech type business. However, there is a way to turn a somewhat antiquated industry high-tech, and I am working on that. But I really thought it was a stretch for me, so I was so pleasantly surprised when I was one of the 3 finalists, and it was a great opportunity to do the pitch, to get connected with 43 North, and to be a part of the 43 North family is huge. It really, that aspect of it really supersedes the financial winnings that I got. Yeah, because money comes and money goes, but relationships stay and can last a lifetime. So I'm just so honored and happy to be part of the 43 North family, and I hope that can grow over time.
Like I said, excuse me, we're accepting applications now. Wow, I have not had my coffee. Excuse me. I'm going to edit that part out. As I mentioned, we're accepting applications. What would your advice be to someone who might be like you were last year, kind of on the fence of, do I have a good idea? Is it worth it? What do I do?
I've been telling everyone. Just apply. Just apply. The pot of money has more than doubled, and it's a great opportunity. And more than if you win, the idea that you start your relationship with 43 North is really pretty priceless.
It's again, as I've mentioned, I think a couple times in this, partnerships, and I think that's one of the, the good values that the pitch has is, connecting 43 North, the startup ecosystem, with entrepreneurs like yourself, who, like you said, it might be an antiquated idea, but it's a worthwhile cause and worthwhile idea that is going to make a difference.
Right. Absolutely.
So your passion for what you've been doing the last few years kind of made you decide to alter your life, path in life a little bit, and culinary arts, right?
My life has been completely altered. Completely. And And because I am so passionate about this, and because I realize that the nutritional aspect is just as important as access, I am a graduate candidate to become a certified plant-based chef in October of this year. And that course has taught me that, yes, I'm on the right track. We're doing the right things. We just need to even take things to the next level when I'm talking about getting into the community and educating folks about what they should be eating, because if you don't have your health, you have absolutely nothing. And so staying healthy, avoiding having to be on medication, and working with your doctors and talking to them about how you want to eat and what it means to eat properly is something that we all should be doing.
So when you finish the certification, what will this allow you to do, and how will that relate to Urban Fruits and Veggies?
I think it will just give me the credentials, to be able to talk to people about the nutritional aspect, not just access. And I feel it's very important to have your credentials in order, because you don't want, we don't want to bring any harm to the community or any of my customers or clients. I know that that's kind of like a medical doctor thing, do no harm, but I embrace that, seriously in everything that we do. So that's important to me, and that's why I decided to do that.
So what's the rest of the year look like for Urban Fruits and Veggies, and maybe into next year as well?
Well, we have some great opportunities with some other organizations that I have not partnered with yet, for possibly some grants that have been secured for our area. And then there's an opportunity. I have 3 programs with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and we're looking at maybe a 4th and a 5th program with them.
Wow.
So I'd like to get all of that secured for the end of the year, so that next year we know what we're doing. We're also going to try to go for the U.S. Conference of Mayors Childhood Obesity Prevention Grant, partnering with another small business. It's a wonderful small business called La Movement, and they bring physical fitness and physical education into the community.
Well, I think then you've got quite a busy year ahead of you. If you mentioned investors earlier in the podcast, if people want to get involved, or potentially, I've got a lot of listeners, we've got a lot of people potentially who want to invest in things. How can they get a hold of you? How can they connect? How can they help Urban Fruits and Veggies?
I would just be overjoyed to talk to investors. We desperately need investors. There's so much work to be done. And for those investors who are like, well, it's not really techie, there could be a little surprise in there for those investors who are looking for high-tech companies to invest in. So I welcome any investors. Feel free to call me at 716-982-1270 or email me at DAvidEHONN@outlook.com.
And what's the website for Urban Fruits and Veggies?
It is www.urban.vegetable.com.
All right, Allison, we will check in with you next year to see how the crops are doing, and see how the expansion's been going.
That would be great.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Bye. I want to thank Allison for joining us on the podcast this week. If you want to learn more about Urban Fruits and Veggies, visit their website, urbanfv.com. Thanks again for listening and subscribing to this podcast. Hopefully you've enjoyed all 21 episodes so far. We certainly enjoy producing them. And just a reminder that 43 North Week is quickly approaching, and it kicks off with The Pitch on September 28th. If you're a minority and women business owner in Buffalo, specifically Erie County as well, you may want to be joining this, because this year we have $50,000 up for grabs at the Pitch competition on September 28th. To apply to the competition, make sure you visit thepitch.43north.org. You have until September 1st, 2017 to apply, and don't miss out. And all the rules and regulations and terms of service are available on our website, so make sure you check that out. And again, that kicks off 43 North Week. The big 43 North finals this year are on October 5th, and we'll be announcing details in the next few weeks on how to get tickets for that. We're looking to sell out Shays this year, and spoiler alert, we don't charge for tickets, but we want to sell out. We want to have 3,000 people there, and we want all of our friends in the startup community in Western New York to join us. So be on the lookout for the next few weeks. We'll be announcing the details on how to get your tickets to the big event on October 5th. Thanks again for listening. For 43 North, I'm Nate Benson, and we'll see you at the next one.